Good evening. Welcome to 21 Days of Code. Today, we will be solving problem number 463, island parameter. You are given a map in form of a 2D integer grid where 1 represents land and 0 represents water. Grid cells are connected horizontally, vertically, but not diagonally. The grid is completely surrounded by water and there is exactly one island, that is, one or more connected land cells. The island doesn't have lakes. Water inside that isn't connected to the water around the island. One cell is a square with side length 1. The grid is rectangular with an height don't exceed 100. Determine the parameter of the island. So let's see one example to get more insight in the question. Input here is this 2D grid of ones and zeros. The graphical representation is given here. So we can see that there is not more than one island, and also all the water is present outside the island. That is, for example, like here, water is not enclosed in the island. This here is wrong. This example is not part of the question. So we will be solving this question. So let's see how it works. So let's start solving the question. We are given an input of a 2D grid of zeros and ones. So let's represent this in a figure. The blue region here represents water and the brown represents the land. Also, we can see these yellow lines here. These are the borders of the island and will contribute to the perimeter of the island. That is, the sum of these yellow lines will be equal to the perimeter. We can see an interesting observation here. That is, this is the land cell and the cell adjacent to it. If it is a water cell, then this boundary, this line will contribute to the perimeter. Else, if the adjacent cell is a brown cell, that is the land cell, it won't contribute to the perimeter. Also, if the cell is present at the boundary, the land cell is present at the boundary, then this line will also contribute to the perimeter. That is, there are two conditions. Either adjacent cell is equal to 0, that is, it contains water, or the cell is at the boundary of the grid. Then this boundary, this yellow line, will contribute to the perimeter of the island. We present the current cell by C of I, j, where I is row and j is column. As the indexing starts from 0, this is 0th and this is n minus 1th row, this is 0th and this is n minus 1th column. We have to first check if Cij is land. If it is a land, then we will check if I minus 1 is valid. If I minus 1 is equal to minus 1 or less than 0, then this is on the boundary. So it will contribute to the perimeter. If I plus 1, this cell here is 0. It's not 0, it's a land cell, so it won't contribute to the perimeter. C of I, j plus 1, this cell. This cell is a water cell, so it will contribute to the perimeter. And j minus 1, this cell. So this cell is also a water cell, so it will also contribute to the perimeter. We will check this for all the land cells and thus calculate our total perimeter. Let's code this approach. We're using vector as our grid here, so if you are not familiar with vectors, make sure to check out the link we put in the description box. First, we will check if the grid is not empty. If it is empty, we return 0. Then we initialize perimeter equals 0 and m and n to store the size of the grid. Then we initialize two for loops to iterate through every element of the grid. Then we check if the current element is a land element. If it is a land element, then we write these 4 steps, basically checking all the 4 boundaries of the element. First, if I minus 1 is less than 0, that is, the land element is present at the topmost border. If I minus 1 is less than 0, then yes, the boundary will contribute to the perimeter and perimeter will be incremented. If it is not present on the top boundary, then we will check if the element above it is a water element. If it is, it will contribute to the boundary. Same for I plus 1. If I plus 1, that is I is present on the last boundary of the grid, then I plus 1 will be equal to m and it will contribute to the perimeter. Else, if I plus 1 is less than m, that is, it is inside the grid and the element below it is a water element, then perimeter will be incremented. Same on the left and the right of the cell. So After checking these conditions, we will increment the perimeter by 1 and then finally we will return the perimeter. So here's the code. Let's run it and check it. Yeah, it's working fine. Submitting the code. Here, we have solved the problem.